I, 35 female, have two older sisters. My middle sister, Stephanie, died suddenly when she was 30. She was handicapped. My oldest sister, Susan, is 42. My father had many affairs and left us when we were children and moved across the country with his girlfriend. He left my mom to take care of us and care for my handicapped sister alone. He didn't pay all the child support he was supposed to, and money was always tight, even though he lived well because his girlfriend, eventually his wife, was rich. My mom raised us alone and did everything for us. My sister was angry that my father left and blamed my mom. My middle sister and I were very good and loved my mom a lot. Susan blamed my mom for my dad leaving and blamed my handicapped sister for getting all of my mom's attention. As Susan got older, she became very successful in finance and made a large income. She would routinely yell at my mom that she was a terrible mom, and she and I stopped talking because of the countless crappy things she would do and say. I believe she is narcissistic like my dad. Anyway, 2 years before my mom died, Susan got upset at my mom over where to go on vacation. She yelled that she never wanted to see her or me again. She cut ties with both of us. I had stopped talking to her years before, but would see her at birthdays. It absolutely broke my mom's heart. She had lost her one daughter, and now her oldest child said she hated her. I was all she had, and I talked to her daily and saw her multiple times a week. My mom was an amazing woman and mom, and gave up everything to raise us. After a year and a half of my sister not talking to her, my mom changed the will to give me 80% and 20% to be split by my sister and 3 grandkids. The original will was 80% split between Susan and I, and 20% split between grandkids. My mom got sick and died later that year. My sister was told by many people that she was sick and could be dying. She did nothing. I cared for my mom by myself. Now, here's where I could be the a-hole. My sister did help me the last 2 months of my mom's life. She would help me almost every day along with aides and hospice. After my mom died, my wealthy sister found out that my mom changed the will and was pissed I didn't tell her. She is telling everyone that I am an a-hole. I'm a social worker with a small child, and she lives in a $1 million mansion with no small children. I didn't tell her when she was helping me that her inheritance will be way less than mine. My mom was not competent in the last 2 months, and my sister never made amends with her. But she did care for her, which I needed. Should I have told her? Should I have split the money? The money in my mom's estate was $250,000. Not the a-hole, not your responsibility. Your sister has no reason to be mad at you. Not the a-hole. Your sister sounds like she was angry at your mom for getting less than she felt she was entitled to as a child. Now she's angry at you for getting less than she feels she's entitled to as an adult. This is just who she is. Until she decides to look at why she feels entitled, this behavior is probably not going to change. Not the a-hole. She clearly only came to help because she was under the impression she'd be getting a good chunk of change for it. Don't give her a dime more than what was willed to her. I'm 27 female, getting married later this year, and announced a tentative date a while ago. Seemingly out of nowhere, my cousin, 28 female, decided to get married exactly 1 week before I was planning to. I've been trying on wedding dresses for the past couple months. My cousin's mother asked to see some of the dresses I had tried on, so my mother sent her a video of one of our final pics. I didn't think much of it, as I wanted my extended family to feel included. A few weeks pass, and I get a call from the boutique I had paid a deposit for my dress at. They inform me that my cousin and her mother had come in their store with the video of me in my dress and asked to get something exactly like it. One of their sales associates sold them the exact same dress in a cream color instead of white, which was my dress's color. The store owner was very apologetic and offered a refund since she realized 2 girls from the same family can't wear the same dress. I will likely have a lot of the same guests at my wedding. I was in disbelief, and I was hoping it was all a terrible mix-up. I immediately messaged my cousin and casually asked to see the dress she purchased. For weeks, she created stories about either not finding a dress or having it altered so she couldn't show me. Finally, the night before her wedding, she invited my mom and I over for some last-minute help. Again, we asked to see her dress. She finally caved and brought it out. Of course, it was the exact same dress. I was extremely hurt and asked why she would go out of her way to steal my wedding dress, knowing full well her wedding is before mine, which means everyone would see it on her before me. I said if she had spoken to me beforehand, I might have chosen to let her have the dress, but she went behind my back and chose to lie about it repeatedly. Things have gotten heated, and I ended up leaving. I'm not sure if I even want to go to her wedding tomorrow after the stunt she and her mother pulled. Everyone in my family thinks I overreacted and should have kept my mouth shut until after her wedding, instead of creating animosity the night before her big day. Am I the a-hole? Hold the phone, sister. She bought your dress, and now your family is saying that you created the animosity? Your cousin and aunt knew exactly what they were doing. Not the a-hole. The question is, do you really want to talk to this person anymore? It's not about the dress. It's about the rotten way your family has treated you, and then blamed you for getting angry at being mistreated. Not the a-hole. She lied and avoided confrontation for weeks. Your reaction was valid in my eyes. Things could have been different if she had shown you the dress earlier. She basically invalidated all your efforts so close to your own wedding. Your family is toxic. Not the a-hole. Sounds like your aunt and cousin are trying very hard to win by setting the date just before you, and then the dress done on top of that. And they know exactly what they are doing. Why else would they fib about the dress till last minute? They are definitely the a-holes, and I wouldn't blame you one bit if you skip their wedding. Or you could do the petty thing if you are so inclined. Show up and give a little speech. Obligatory congrats, obviously. And then a little byline about family helping each other, and how happy you are that you could help her with inspiration for everything from setting the date to choosing the dress. I, female 22, and my husband, male 22, have two beautiful kids, female 5 and male 1, who are the best part of my life. I got pregnant with my first baby at 17 and moved in with my husband and his family at 18. My daughter looks a lot like me, and people have always commented on how similar we look. My mother-in-law has always supported me and has been such a huge help with the kids. I'm half Asian. My father was Japanese and Korean mix. Yet many people have no idea until I tell them, as I am white passing. I've always introduced myself as a European because I'm not in touch with my Asian heritage, and also because my father is not part of my life anymore, and I don't like to talk about him. My mother-in-law knows this, and my race, thankfully, isn't important to her. However, as my daughter is getting older, it is getting very clear she is part Asian. She has small, sharp eyes and tan skin. Of course, she is beautiful, and nothing about her looks worries us, as we knew there would be a chance her Asian genes would shine through. However, my mother-in-law has commented a few times that she might not be my husband's, as before him I always had a thing for Asian men. About a week ago, my mother-in-law made a large dinner and invited us over to eat. She sat our entire family, children included, down at the dining table and asked if we would be able to do a paternity test to find out about my daughter's heritage. I told my mother-in-law that she was part Korean, part Japanese, and part German, thinking nothing of it. But my mother-in-law asked me if I was sure, and then said my daughter looks too Chinese. I was shocked and asked my mother-in-law what she meant. And it was then my mother-in-law told me that she didn't think the baby was my husband's and that she wanted to do a DNA test to make sure. She said this right in front of my daughter, who is smart enough to know what is going on, and immediately started asking questions. I was furious and called out my mother-in-law for being rude and embarrassing me, and then told her I had nothing to prove, and if she didn't think her granddaughter was hers, she didn't have to be in her life. My husband and I left straight away and have not contacted her since. But my father-in-law has been coming to our door, telling us we overreacted, and if I would just take the test, this would all be over. But I feel that would affect my pride, as not just a person, but as a wife and mother. So am I the a-hole? Edit. I would just like people to know that although my mother-in-law has been very harsh recently, throughout my time with her she has been very kind and loving, and please only judge her on what is happening here. Overall, she is a great person. Also, she is not R, and the problem is not because she is unhappy with me or my daughter's race. Not the a-hole. If you want to be petty, then get the test to prove to them they are the grandparents, and then go no contact. All with husband's support, of course. My friend's mother-in-law insisted that friend's husband could not be the father of their son because he looked just like her. For years she kept it up. Finally, after years and years of her harassment, the husband started believing it too. Him and his mom did a paternity test behind her back, and guess what? He is the dad. He was so happy with the results that he showed her, thinking she would be happy too. And then my friend served him with divorce papers because he didn't trust her, went behind her back, and involved their teenage son. It was complete betrayal. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. It's pretty common for traits to skip a generation and resurface in the grandkids. Your mother-in-law basically accused you with infidelity, and her only evidence being poor understanding of genetics and R. Personally, I would take the test just to rub it under her nose for the rest of her life. But honestly, as long as your husband trusts you, it's completely fine to refuse a test you feel would humiliate you. So I, 36 male, have a brother, Mike, 44, who has a daughter, Addie, 16. For her 16th birthday, Mike bought Addie a used, but still very nice car. She totaled it 2 months later in an accident where she was 100% at fault, and Mike did not buy her another one. So far, she's gotten by with Mike's car, but he recently had to take a business trip out of town and was worried about her being home alone without a car. He asked me to lend her my car for a few days as a favor. My wife and I each have one, and it wouldn't be a major inconvenience to me. I reluctantly agreed. When it was time for me to take my car back, Mike told me that Addie had accidentally put diesel in it and that it had died in their driveway. I had it towed to a repair shop and asked for $1,500, the amount quoted to me by the mechanic, from Mike to get it fixed. Mike told me that he would transfer the money soon, and I told him to take as much time as he needed. Later that afternoon, Mike's wife Lisa called me to tell me that the money for my car would be coming out of Addie's already meager college fund. She begged me to let the money go because Addie needs that money for college. She actually started crying, and I started feeling really bad. The thing is, I do have the money to pay for the repairs. I'd have to take it out of mine and my wife's shared savings account. I actually already have my wife's permission. I would put the money from Mike into that same savings account to restore the original amount. Even so, I told Lisa that Addie needs to have consequences for her actions, and if that means that she has less money for college, then that's what that means. She meekly agreed and hung up. Yesterday I got a text from my sister. She basically called me a selfish a-hole for taking money out of Addie's college fund over a stupid mistake. She said that I was being cruel and that she knows I have the money, so I should just bite the bullet and let them keep the money. Now I'm struggling with this dilemma, and I figured that I should get some unbiased perspective. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Addie needs to get a job and pay for something to learn the value of $1. Not the a-hole. I don't know where you live, but diesel nozzles where I live are clearly marked and hard to use in a passenger vehicle. You're lucky it didn't seize the engine. Your niece broke it, and she's got to fix it. If the funds come out of her college fund, oh well. She needs to pay attention and not damage other people's property. I would say the biggest problem is that it seems like Addie has not been taught correctly about how to be responsible with cars. Kids do stupid stuff, but kids are more likely to do stupid stuff when they are not taught correctly by their parents. If she's that way with cars, she's probably that way with other aspects of her life. Again, given that she's 16, I would say that it's her parents' fault for not teaching their daughter correctly. Addie should get a summer job to pay for that $1,500. Her parents obviously work and get by, so I doubt that they would be dependent on her income. Let her pay for it. Depending on how hard she works, you could cut her a break if she's a little short at the end of the summer. Or you could make her pay every penny. It shouldn't be coming out of her parents' pocket, your pocket, or her college fund. She's 16 and can drive. She can work. 20 hours a week times $7.25 equals $150. It would take her 10 weeks at a minimum wage job to pay you back. Assuming she works June and July, that would be around 8 weeks. It's still May. No excuses. Me, 17 female, and my best friend, 17 female. Let's call her Hannah. We're basically childhood best friends. I met her when I was 5 through our parents, and we first met at a playground. Hannah came from a wealthy background, while I was from an average middle-class one. When I first met Hannah, she seemed to be shy and polite, and we seemingly got along well. However, the polite mask is thrown away within the first month of meeting her. She became bratty and lazy, always wanting people to do the work for her. Whenever she faces any hard task, she would run away from home, and I would always have to catch her. One day when I was 5, I promised her that I would always stay by her side, and I want to see her shine the most. Hannah agreed to that promise, and our relationship bloomed since. As a result, I ended up being the one to constantly take care of whatever Hannah doesn't want to do. I bring her snacks, drive her in my car, plan her outfits, and give her the answers for any school assignments. She always wanted me to take the same classes as her so that she'll always be dependent on me, even though I didn't want to. This year we're in our senior year, and we applied to colleges. My other friend that I made this year, Maya, asked where do we want to go. Hannah proudly said Harvard and that she's going to go with me since she made me apply as well. I didn't really want to go to Harvard, but I did for the sake of her. I told Maya that aside from Harvard, I looked into some other in-state schools for us such as UVA and Georgetown. I also thanked Maya for helping me study for the SAT, as I got a 1500 plus from the study sessions after school I did with me, her, and her girlfriend. Hannah looked really shocked when I said I was interested in the other schools. She asked me why I didn't tell her I applied to Georgetown and UVA and other safeties. I said that it's because I knew she was going to disapprove, and that I didn't want to go to Harvard. I wanted to go to Georgetown. Hannah was livid, as she started yelling at me. She told me that if I got into Georgetown, I should withdraw, otherwise she wouldn't be friends with me. Maya heavily objected to that, stating that I worked so hard for Georgetown, and I shouldn't give up for someone who's so spoiled. Hannah asked me why I applied to Georgetown when Harvard's already enough. I told her that I'm not rich like her. College decisions are a gamble, and Georgetown is one of my dream schools. Hannah laughed at me, stating that I would never be good for Georgetown because I'm a selfish brat, and when they reject me, I shouldn't go crying to her. We haven't talked after that, and although Maya has been comforting me, stating that I should drop Hannah, I still feel bad I went around her back and lied to her. Am I the a-hole for applying to college without my best friend? Not the a-hole. Hannah has been and will continue to milk you as a crutch for her personal benefit and company. You're not her friend. You're her employee. She's toxic, manipulative, and controlling. Drop her immediately. Not the a-hole. Girlie, that is not a friend. She has been mooching off you since you were 5. Drop her and keep Maya. Also, don't stay friends with anyone out of obligation. If you feel like they don't support you or they always talk about their problems only, they are not worth your friendship. So you've been this girl's servant since you were 5? Because of a promise you made? Again, when you were 5?